They're April 23rd, they believe is the day she was lured to the house and then shortly after killed with a sharp object, they're saying. And then May 8th is the 5th, or they have to look at the timeline to be honest with you, is when they're saying she was dismembered.
A 14-year-old girl disappears. Months later, her body is found inside a car, not buried, not hidden far away, just sitting there, and the person connected to it, a rising singer who continued living his life like nothing had happened. Her name was Celeste Rivas Hernandez. She was reported missing in 2024. At first, it didn't trigger immediate urgency. Like many missing person cases, there were assumptions that she had run away, that she might return, that it wasn't a worst-case scenario. But behind the scenes, there was already a connection that would later define the entire case. According to prosecutors, Celeste had been in contact with David Anthony Burke, known publicly as D4VD. And this wasn't a recent interaction. They allege he met her when she was just 11 years old, and by the time she was 13, that relationship had crossed into something illegal. That detail alone reframes everything, because this wasn't a random encounter. It was a timeline, a progression, something that developed over time without being stopped. As investigators began looking deeper into the connection, the timeline became more precise, more structured, and more concerning. April 2025, that's where everything changes. According to court filings, on April 22nd, there was an argument, a serious one. Text messages reportedly show Celeste threatening to expose the relationship, to reveal everything publicly, to damage his reputation and end his career. That moment matters because it introduces something critical: motive. The very next day, April 23rd, 2025, prosecutors believe Celeste was killed not long after being dropped off at his home, not in a random location, but in a place where investigators believe everything unfolded. What happens next is where the case becomes deeply disturbing, because it doesn't follow panic, it follows control. According to prosecutors, after her death, Burke didn't contact authorities. He didn't report an accident. He didn't disappear. Instead, he started buying things. Investigators later tracked a series of online purchases made under a fake name. And the list wasn't vague, it was specific. Within days, he allegedly purchased 2 chainsaws, a body bag, a shovel, an inflatable pool, and a burn cage.
We found a burn cage. David had purchased a burn cage, an incinerator, and it was at the house.
So that incinerator wasn't at the house before?
Well, you know, we found it at the house, but I mean, why do you have an incinerator and a chainsaw?
All items that prosecutors say were intended to dispose of a body. This wasn't impulsive behavior. It suggests planning, a deliberate attempt to erase evidence. According to the court filing, inside his Hollywood Hills home, he used those tools in his garage. Prosecutors allege he dismembered her remains there, in a controlled space, out of sight. And then, he made a decision that continues to raise questions. Instead of fully disposing of the remains, he placed them inside his Tesla. And here's the part that still doesn't make sense. He didn't get rid of the car.
We started getting this horrible smell, and we had one of the dogs that died. And they had buried the dog in the backyard, and it was like a husky. It was a larger dog. And she's like, you know, anytime it would get over to be like 75, 76, 77 degrees, the backyard would smell horrible. She's like, so we thought we didn't bury the dog deep enough, so they were getting ready to.
The vehicle remained in the area for months, 5 months, and during that time, nothing appeared out of place on the surface. According to reports, his first studio album was released just days after the alleged killing. He continued his career, maintained a public image, and even traveled, all while, according to prosecutors, the evidence was still inside that vehicle. Eventually, in September 2025, authorities made a discovery. Inside the Tesla, they found Celeste's decomposing body after months. That moment changed everything. From there, the case became about reconstruction. Investigators began building a timeline using multiple sources: digital records, purchase histories, surveillance footage. One key detail: surveillance footage showed Burke was the last person to drive the Tesla where the body was found. That connects movement, time, and location at the same time. The purchases tied directly into the alleged sequence of events. Tools bought after the estimated time of death, used in a way prosecutors say aligns with their theory. And then the messages, those final conversations between Celeste and Burke, according to prosecutors, provided context. They suggest tension, conflict, and a possible reason for what happened next. Prosecutors believe she was killed to stop her from exposing the relationship, a decision driven not by impulse, but by fear of consequences. But the case is not concluded. Burke has pleaded not guilty. His legal team has stated they will vigorously defend him, arguing that the evidence does not prove he committed the crime. In court, he has said very little, responding only when necessary, remaining largely silent. Meanwhile, prosecutors have filed multiple charges, including first-degree murder, continuous sexual abuse of a child, mutilation of human remains. These are severe charges, and if proven, they carry serious consequences. But beyond the legal process, there's something else about this case that stands out. It's the timeline. Because when you step back and look at everything, this didn't happen in a single moment. It developed over years, from meeting at age 11, to alleged abuse at 13, to disappearance, to death, to discovery months later, each stage connected to the next. And like many cases like this, it raises difficult questions. Could it have been stopped earlier? Were there warning signs that were missed? And how does something like this continue without intervention? Because in the end, this case isn't just about what happened. It's about how it was allowed to happen, how a situation escalated, how decisions were made, and how those decisions led to a tragic outcome. Because sometimes, the most disturbing cases aren't sudden. They build quietly over time until one moment changes everything, and by then, there's no going back.